Good afternoon. Good evening. It's Wednesday, y'all. Wellness Wisdom Wednesday. Wednesdays come so quick. That's a beautiful thing. I'm going to wait for a couple people to jump on in here. When you come in, let me know what city and state you're watching from, and go ahead and press the share button. How are you? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hold on for just 30 seconds or so. And I'm going to be sharing tonight on being prepared for disasters, pandemics, crises, riots, all kinds of stuff. The point is being prepared for whatever might come our way, so that you can be wise. We're going to talk about that in a second. This is going to be good. Grab your pen and your paper. You definitely want to take some notes. Also going to be sharing some links with you so that you can look further and make sure that you and your family are prepared in the case if there's a power outage for any length of time. As you know, they keep saying that we're in a food shortage. Some of the things that you can do to help protect you and your family, and to just be prepared for that if you're not able to get food, and what you can do now to prepare for that. So just give a couple more seconds for people to come in. Okay. Gonna plug in here to Instagram land. Hello, good afternoon again. This is Wellness Wisdom Wednesdays Health Talk Show. I am your host, Dawnehorizon. I'm a certified holistic health and wellness coach. Today, I'm going to be talking about a very important topic. Very important to me, but it's also very important to you. And that is survival. That is being prepared in today's times. So many things that are going on in our world today, and so much uncertainty. Like tomorrow has never been promised, right? But there's just so many more things that are happening in our world at this time, in this season, and we need to be prepared. You be prepared to be able to help yourselves, your family, your loved ones in the event of a major catastrophe or major events. And so preparedness is very important. I shared a video last year about being prepared, and I listed and I had a table full of all the items that I have to be prepared for my family. So we're prepared for come what may. And I'm still reading and studying and looking up on preparedness because I want to be prepared for whatever may come. Also, as a single mom, I want to make sure that I'm prepared here at home, and I'm prepared for my children, right? So we're going to talk about that. Okay, so we're talking about preparedness, right? So it's hard to prepare for any and everything, because let's say if you're in an area where there are a lot of tornadoes, that's one type of preparedness. If you're in an area where there are many hurricanes, that's another type of preparedness. Okay. And so if all of us, any of us can be in a pandemic. That doesn't really matter where you are, what region you are in. There are some basic things that you can do that would have you generally prepared for almost anything. And then depending on what region you're in, there's some very specific things that you would need to do to be prepared. And so if that's you and you have questions, feel free to reach me online, and we can talk about some of the very specific things that you may need to have or to obtain for the particular region that you're in. Okay. So here's a few tips again, and these are good in any emergency situation. Okay. Any crisis. And the first one is to stay calm. Okay. Stay calm. Now that may seem like very simple, but in the moment that something goes wrong, or the moment you see blood, or the moment that the roof is ripped off the house, that is not the first thing that you think about staying calm. It is natural, in the body's adrenaline going, it is natural for you to go into a panic. And this is the reason for preparedness, because when you're prepared, when you're trained, when you know that you're ready for an event to take place and you have the basic things that you need, you can go through that event much better, because in the back of your mind, you have the knowledge that you need to be successful, and to have the things that you need in the event of an emergency. Okay, so stay calm, don't panic. And it's easier not to panic when you have the things that you need around you, or you know what to do. Panic really sets in when you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, you don't know what's coming next. And this is why preparedness is important. And so I wanted to come on and to teach this and to talk to you about this, because this is so important in today's times of uncertainty. We want to make sure that we're prepared as much as possible. And at least knowing what to do and knowing what's needed can help you to be prepared and help you not to panic and to be able to stay calm. Okay. Number 3 is go into survival mode. So stay calm, don't panic, go into survival mode. So again, once you're prepared, once you have been reading, once you have know some of the things that you need in an emergency situation, your brain can then shift from fight or flight. Your brain can shift from panic mode, oh my God, what's happening? What am I going to do? To, okay, I know what to do. Okay, we have flashlights. Okay, we have candles. Okay, I know where the blankets are. Whatever it is that you need, your brain can shift into survival mode. And that way you're not acting off of panic mode. Okay, panicking can get you killed real quick. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're out in the street, if there's a riot, if there's something going on, if there's a shootout or anything, panicking can get you killed. Why? Because you won't be thinking straight. Okay, so knowing what to do and staying calm will allow your brain to make that shift, like I said, from fight or flight to, okay, I have a plan. Okay. And this preparedness is going to help you, and is going to help you to devise a plan that is right for you and your family, and that is also right for the region that you're in. Okay. I'm in Virginia. I don't have to worry too much about tornadoes. Okay. And hurricanes. Our hurricanes aren't that bad, but there are some regions where they're really horrible and the categories are really high. And so there's different types of preparedness. But today I'm mainly going to be going over some of the basic ones. Hey, Alan. Hey, Willie. Thank you guys who have joined. Please do me a favor and go ahead and share. Everybody needs this. If you know anyone elderly, has no family, your neighbor, maybe they don't have family, your children, they need to know this. I've bought the book and I've sent it to my children. I want to make sure they're prepared, especially since many of my adult children, they don't live with me. They don't live near me. So as I'm getting this information and I'm teaching myself, I want to make sure that they have this information too, so that they can make proper decisions, right? And so this is information that really needs to be shared. So do yourself a favor and share that information. Okay, so I gave a few tips already. I'm going to go over them really quickly and I'm going to move on. Stay calm. Don't panic. Go into survival mode. Listen for sounds. Okay, listen for sounds. Is there a sound of something crackling, like there might be a fire? Is there a sound of gunfire? Is there a sound of people shouting, of people needing help? Is there, a sound of thunder, of hurricane, of wind, whatever? Listen for the sounds that you're hearing. Based on the sounds that you're hearing, it will tell you what you need to do next, or what it is that might be happening near you and what you need to be prepared for. Okay, that's very important. So you want to listen for the sounds. The 5th thing is you want to sniff. You want to smell. Okay, so we're using our 5 senses here for our survival. You want to smell for scents. You can smell if there's fire or if there's something burning. You can smell if there's an animal, in your vicinity and things like that. There are different things that you can smell in the air. Okay, chemicals and things like that as well. So you want to use your 5 senses. You want to listen for sounds and you want to smell. Pay attention to smell what may be in the atmosphere at that time, right? And then obviously we're using our eyes to look around and to assess the area where we are, or to assess the damage and where you are. Okay, some of the basic needs that we have, and there's really 3 basic needs, and that's shelter, water, and food. Shelter, water, and food. Now, shelter is not just the house that you're in, because God forbid the roof gets blown off of your house. They may not be the best or the safest place to stay. So when we talk about shelter in a survival plan, we're really talking about warmth. It's very important to be able to keep your body warm. Now, if this happens in a region of the country where it's very warm, that's not an issue. You're more trying to stay cool. Okay. If this happens in the wintertime, obviously you need to work more towards being warm because hypothermia sets in. And so I want to give you the rule of three, which is very important. So there's 4 rules of 3. If somebody can type it in the comments, I'd be very grateful, and it would be helpful to the other viewers. So the rules of 3s: you can go 3 minutes without oxygen. After 3 minutes, it's really going to affect your brain and you're going to face imminent danger or imminent death. Okay, so you got to have oxygen. None of this other stuff after this matters if you don't have oxygen. Okay, if there's some type of chemical warfare or something like that, and if you have a gas mask, something that can protect you from chemicals in the air, that would be very good. That may be something that you can add to your list of things to get in the future. But there are some very basic things that you want to get first and get that out of the way. Gas mask and N95 mask, something like that can be later on down the line for you. Now, if you have a medical condition that you already have respiratory problems, then for you, it would be much higher on the list, and you want to look into the best one to get at the most cost-effective price. Okay, so 3 minutes for oxygen, 3 hours for shelter. If you're deprived of adequate shelter and you need to stay warm, especially in a cold condition, after 3 hours, it's likely that hypothermia can set in. Okay. And that would be very dangerous. Okay. Because death comes after that if you're not able to get your body warmed back up quickly. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips to know how to warm yourself up if you're hypothermia, and also to show you the signs of what hypothermia is. But let me just give you these highlights really quickly. So 3 hours for shelter, 3 minutes for oxygen, 3 days for water. We need to be drinking water. Our body is made up of at least 75% of water. And so we need water. Our organs need water to survive and to do the things that they're made to do. And so we need to have water each and every day. We can go basically 3 days without water before the body starts to really have a problem. Okay. After 3 days with no water, that can be life-threatening. Okay. And I'm going to go into what can constitute water besides your typical H2O. Okay. And then 3 weeks food, 3 weeks without food. You can survive up to 3 weeks without food. That also depends on your age, your medical conditions, your height, your weight, and many other different factors on how long you can go without food. If you're one that is doing some type of health diet plan or some type of intermittent fasting or something like that, you've already kind of been training your body to go for hours without food. But for people that have never done anything like that, or they're not used to doing that, a couple of hours without food is going to begin to be a problem. And then several days without food is going to be a problem. So that particular person can last probably a minimum of 3 weeks. Okay. And so that's very important. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as well. But I wanted to just give it to you in a highlight form really quickly. And then I'm going to delve a little bit into each one of them. So let me recap. This is the rule of 3s. And there are 4 rules of 3s. Number 1, 3 minutes without oxygen, and then imminent death is inevitable. 3 hours without shelter. And remember, shelter in this case is not just the house, okay, or some type of structure, but shelter really stands for warmth, okay, keeping your body warm. And 3 days without water, and then 3 weeks without food. So 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, and 3 weeks. Knowing this can also help you to prepare yourself and your home. And if you're in an emergency situation, knowing how much time you have, that you need to be able to find the things that you need or someplace to go and to be able to act quickly. Okay. This is all about being prepared. That's how you're going to survive whatever the crisis may be, is being prepared. And that's what this is all about. Okay. So disaster preparation means survival. And sometimes, or most times in any given situation, survival is going to be to the next daylight. Okay. We know different things happen at night, creatures come out at night and stuff like that. So you're preparing. And so God forbid you're in an emergency situation, your mindset is going to be, okay, what do I have to do for now? What is it that my family needs for now to meet our basic needs and help us to make it to the morning? Okay. So you don't want to think days in advance. You don't want to think weeks in advance. You want to think about right now and the next few hours. Okay. And each day that you wake up, obviously you give God praise and you go on from there and what the needs are of the day. When you are prepared, it is a lot less stressful because you will have your basic needs. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into some of those. So our basic human needs are shelter, water, and food. And remember, shelter means warmth. A positive mental attitude. I want to say a prepared mental attitude, because if you're not prepared, you're going to panic. You're not going to be calm. You're not going to think straight. You're not going to make good decisions. So panicking in an emergency situation could be very dangerous for you and is a quick way to get yourself or someone that's with you killed. And so we don't want that. We want to sustain life. We want to be prepared for what may come so that life can be sustained. Okay, so having a positive or proper mental attitude is very important in the case of an emergency. Okay, and I gave you the rules of threes. I hope that you're taking notes on that. Okay, so let's talk about shelter. I'm going into that now. There's a different types of shelter. Your home, maybe there's a structure in your yard, a barn, or someplace that you have to go. Sometimes in an emergency situation, your home is not the safest place, and you may have to leave your home. And so you need a bag that's going to have all of your essential things that you really need that you can grab in a moment's notice. And it's called a bug out bag. That's what they call a bug out bag. So if you have to bug out, if you have to leave your home, if you have to leave your surroundings, what are the things that you need to have in this bag that you can take with you if you're not able to come back to your house? Okay, very, very important. And so basic necessities. And I took some time to like write a list of like 50 things or 100 things of the things that are important for my normal daily life. And then I cut that list down by thinking of the things that I would have to have in an emergency situation if I didn't have the normal things that I need for everyday life. Okay, very, very important. So get you a bag. It doesn't have to be an expensive bag, some type of book bag, something that you can carry, something that you can strap on your back. So if you have to climb or if you have to, walk a long trail or something like that, you're not being tired or weighed down by what it is that you're carrying, something that you can put and strap on your back. Now, if you have children, or you have a spouse, you have children, everybody needs to have a bag. Okay, everybody needs to have their own bug out bag. In that bug out bag, you need to have clothes, clothes for your season. So if it's hot, you may want to have things cool. But if you're having to travel and go outside, you want to have protective clothing. So you want to have something like jeans, okay, not short shorts. You want to protect your body and your skin from the elements. You want to protect your body and your skin from bugs and snakes and things of that nature. So sneakers, something comfortable that you can walk in, jeans, something that will last, some t-shirts, undergarments, something where you can change your clothes quickly, a jacket, a sweater in case it gets cool at night, okay, things like that. If it's in the wintertime, then obviously you want to have a coat, you want to have more clothes because you want to be able to layer yourself so that you can keep your body heat in and so you can keep warm. And we're going to talk a little bit more about clothing in a moment. So remember, shelter is keeping yourself warm. It doesn't necessarily mean the structure that you live in. So let's say you have to bug out and you have to leave and you have to go somewhere. How do you know where to go? Okay, you need to have maps. You need to have a map that you can read. Now, I'm 51. Back when I was in school, they taught us how to read maps. They taught us about longitude and latitude. They taught us about that stuff, using a compass, knowing the north, south, east, and west. They taught that stuff. I don't know if they're teaching that in school anymore. So I want to implore you to teach your children, whether they're teenage children or grown children or little children. Children can learn with their hand, north, south, east and west, left and right. You can teach them these basic things and it'll go a long way. So if you embed this in them now, even if they may be young, as they get older, they're not going to forget it. They're going to remember that. A compass is something that's good to have. Whether you keep one in the car, have one in your bug out bag, have one in your home, okay? So that it's ready. Okay, so you want to have a map, you want to have a compass, right? What good is a map if you don't know which way is north? Okay, some of these basic things are things that you can start to learn about or refresh your memory, in these times. Okay, so you want to have a flashlight. Okay, make sure that your flashlight is working when you put it in the bag, and make sure you have extra batteries. Okay, batteries can be heavy, so it depends on what the emergency crisis situation is that is causing you to have to bug out. And so make sure that you have batteries. Every time I go to the store, I buy batteries. So just, a little personal life situation for me is every month I go to the store and I'll buy basic necessities for the house, like toilet tissue, paper towels, napkins, laundry detergent, dish liquid, some of the basic things that I know that we're going to use every single month, right? So I buy it for the month. So at the beginning of the month, I buy this for the month. And so we don't always use it. So we usually have some to the next month, but every month I do the same thing because the goal is to build up a little stockpile. Okay. And then this also depends on how much space that you have in your place. My rule of thumb is it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. This is a principle I've always lived by, even before I started studying survival preparedness. This is something I always tell to my children. And this is why wherever we're out, even my friends, wherever we're out, they're like, oh, I wish I had a such and such. And I'm in my bag and I'm like, oh, here, I have one. It's really the funniest thing. I'm like, Inspector Gadget or like Dora with the backpack, and there's all kinds of stuff in my backpack. I just believe in being prepared. Okay. And so as our world started to really shift and change in 2020 and 2021, it just made me feel like more so I had to be prepared. And I started having dreams and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I knew that something was coming, something was about to happen, and I wanted to make sure that myself and my children were prepared. Okay. And so I began to start to read and to study and to take note of things, and I began to start to prepare for things. So every time you go to the store, pick up some batteries. So if everybody in your family has a bug out bag, there's at least one set of batteries in each bag. Not every flashlight takes the same battery. So this is something you need to know before you go out. Another thing that you need to have that would be good and something for you to think about and invest in is solar powered items. Okay. So a solar powered charger for your phone. I bought this stuff last year. Make sure that I was prepared. Solar powered chargers. We have a crank radio. It's kind of small, so it can fit in your backpack or something like that. Yes, a bug out bag, Juanita. So it's a small radio and it has a little wind, like a crank. Okay, but this radio is going to allow me to get the news or any emergency broadcast. Okay, it's not to listen to music per se, but it's to be able to get information about whatever the emergency is and to get updates. It doesn't take batteries, which is a great thing. You don't need batteries for it. Whatever the mechanism is inside, you just kind of crank it up and wind it up. Okay, so solar powered chargers. For your home, you would want to get a power generator. That's what's next on my list, is a power generator. Something that is going to last, that is being powered by the sun outside, and something that can power my refrigerator, something that can power our phones and other electronic things that we may need. Okay, if it's in the wintertime and you lose power, you're going to need heat. So you can use layered clothes, you can use blankets, you may need a heating pad. Depending on where you live in the region, it may be really, really cold for you. And so something that you can think about investing in is a solar blanket. Okay. And many of these things are fire retardant. I bought one of those, and it's shiny. Military uses some of these things too. So it could protect you in the case of a fire as well, but it's designed to be able to keep you warm. Okay. So very important. It wasn't very expensive. I don't remember the price at the time, but it wasn't very expensive. And so put your coins aside and begin to have this mindset of being prepared. Okay. We don't know what's going to happen, but things would be much better and easier if you're prepared for whatever comes your way. Okay. What else? Where am I? Okay. So the thing about being prepared, right, is you want to be self-reliant. Okay. Self-reliant. You want to have what you need in a time of need. And you want to teach this to, like I said, your family and everything. Something else that you might need. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. We're talking about basic needs and things that you might need. So this stuff can be in your bug out bag, but even if you're not going to bug out, like if you don't have to leave your home and you're going to be able to stay in your home, these are still things that you need to have ready. You need to have together. You need to know where this stuff is. You can't be looking for stuff when you need it. It needs to be ready. It needs to have a place or a home within your home that you know exactly where to go to get it. Okay. I have a safe and things like passports and a copy of your driver's license, also a copy of your passport, God forbid it gets destroyed, lost, whatever, is all in the safe, and it's a fireproof box. You can get it from Walmart, I don't know, around $20 or so, and you have a little key. This thing is supposed to withstand fire, hurricanes, all types of stuff. Okay, as long as you don't lose the key, you're good. Okay. So medication, if you're on medication, you want to make sure that you have additional medication or whatever medication you're on, taking it with you. Make sure before you pack it that you know that it's not expired. And most expired medication and even food, like canned food, can go about a month beyond the expiry date. But it's very important for you to know the expiry date so that you're not taking medication with you that you're not going to be able to use. Okay. You want to have your ID, your driver's license or your non-driver's ID, some form of ID that says who you are. If you have this for your children or they have like a student ID, that would be good also. I know back in the days I had one for my children when they were younger, and I think we did it like through the police station, and they had these little ID cards, and basically it gave the basic information about the child, but it also like said like I'm their parent. Okay, so that's something that you can check in. My girls are grown now, so I don't know if they still do that, but that's something to look in your area or check with your local precinct and see if they have something like that. Driver's license, passport, whatever identity you have, your medication, and self-defense items. Okay, this is a big one. This is very important. Self-defense could be some type of martial arts or just, basic self-defense, how you block, how you protect yourself from being hit or stabbed or anything like that, God forbid. You need to have these basic self-defense skills. Now with YouTube University, you can almost learn anything and everything online. So I would say do that. Take some time in your quiet time, in your extra time, make the time, forget extra time, make the time to begin to learn these things so that everything is not fresh and new for you. God forbid some type of emergency happens. I would really encourage you to actually take a self-defense class. I'm planning on doing that. I'm going to have someone to come in and teach me and my girls. I was thinking about doing it as a group. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm sure we get a better price as a group. As someone to teach us self-defense. Also, having a weapon. Okay. I don't want to use the words because I don't want my video blocked. So I need you to kind of listen, pay attention, and read between the lines. I need, if you want to have a weapon, but you may need to take a class to know how to do it. So I think 2020, in the fall of 2020, my daughters and I took a class on I'm sorry. I got distracted. I'm sorry. My daughters and I took a class on concealed weapons. So we learned how to shoot. We learned also the rules around using a firearm. Okay. You need to know which type of firearm would be most comfortable for you. You need to know how to shoot it. You need to know some of the laws and the rules, and how you can carry it, and what type of ammo you need, and all of these things. So this is something you can't wait to the last minute to do. You have to do this and know it right now, right? Amen. So hold on. Let me see. Let's see if that works. Okay. So self-defense is not something that you can wait to the last minute to do. You need to be prepared now. So whether you're going to take a class, whether you're going to use YouTube University, you need to do that. In addition, you need to have some form of self-defense in your home. You need to know what entrances and exits in your home and practice an evacuation. You need to know if there's a fire escape or a window or something that maybe needs to be boarded up from the outside elements or anything that could, intrude inside, and to be prepared for that. Okay. So one of the things that I plan on doing is buying some lumber. I'm going to buy the lumber now because prices is going up anyway, but buy the lumber now, even though I don't need it now. I don't know when I'm going to need it. And again, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Okay. So if doing that, if you don't have a garage to store your wood in, there's certain things that you need to do to store wood properly and to make sure you don't have termites and things like that or bring them into your house. So I'm giving you the basic, and then it's your job then to really delve in and learn some more of the details that you need to know for these specific things. Okay. I looked into also like something like bulletproof to protect our glass. Like windows and stuff like that. That's something that you can do. Something later on down in the list as far as preparedness could be like a tactical vest or bulletproof vest, could be a gas mask and things like that. So those are some of the bigger things that you may need. They're not some of the first and foremost things that you need. So that's a little bit more than basic preparedness. Okay. If you have a pet, and you plan to take your pet with you, if you're going to bug out, you need to have food for the pet. You need to have something to keep the pet warm. Okay. If God forbid, the pet has medicine, you want to make sure that you have that too. So whatever it is that you need for your pet, if you're going to take that pet with you, you would want to make sure that you have all that stuff ready. Okay. If you're home, right, and you don't have to bug out and go someplace outside of the home, you still want to make sure that you have sufficient supplies for your family as well as for your pet, whatever food they need, however they use the bathroom, all of those types of things. Okay. Because if there's a situation and they can't go outside, then what is your plan B for them to relieve themselves? Okay. Something to think about. That's not something, most people would think about. Okay. The thing about preparedness is do it now before you need it. Because if you wait till you need it, then it's not preparedness, it's crisis. Okay. We want to prepare for whatever crisis that we have. So God forbid something happens, we know what to do and we're well able and we're ready for it. Okay. Okay. So, okay. What else? Okay. So how long do you prepare for? Like your food and your water and all this stuff. The basic rule is 72 hours. So, but then that also depends on what the emergency is that you need to prepare for. So have in your mind that you want to prepare for the minimum of 72 hours, which is 3 days. Typically, like even in the case of Hurricane Katrina, something huge and catastrophic happens. After about 3 days' time, there's emergency shelters and things set up. There's places that you can go that can help you with medical care and give water and have food available. There are emergency preparedness places that you can go to. Okay. So sometimes that may be difficult to set up in the first couple of days. And so you at least want to make sure that you're prepared at home to take care of you and your family, at least for 3 days minimum. Now, as a further stretch from that, 2 weeks. 2 weeks will be the next one. If you have room to store and you have the supplies, you want to be prepared for 2 weeks. So 3 days to 2 weeks you want to be prepared for. Okay. And I would say if you don't necessarily have the storage, you live in a small apartment or something, make the storage. Find a place in your closet, your attic, your basement, your garage, whatever. I believe we find time and we make time for the things that we value, the things that are important to us. This is important. And I tell you why. You know the story in the Bible about the 10 virgins? Well, there's a story in the Bible about the 10 virgins, and 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. There were 10 virgins, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. Well, why were the 5 wise? Because they had these oil lamps and they kept their lamps filled with oil. They were not told when the bridegroom was coming back for them, and so they made sure that their lanterns stayed filled up with oil. So why were the other 5 foolish? I'm sure you can probably guess by now, but I'll tell you anyway. The 5 were foolish because they did not keep their lanterns filled with oil. I like to say they're lollygagging. They just had other stuff on their mind. They weren't thinking about it. They thought they were going to be okay. They didn't know when it was going to run low, but this is why you stay prepared. So they weren't prepared. So they went to go fill up their oil, and in that time, the bridegroom comes, and so they missed it. They missed it. They didn't get to go with the bridegroom because they were not prepared. And when they asked the 5 wise virgins, let us have some of your oil, they was like, nah, we ain't doing that. This is the Dawn version. They were like, nah, you should have been prepared instead of chilling, hanging out, doing whatever. You should have made sure your lanterns stayed full just like we did. So those 5 foolish virgins were foolish because they were not prepared. They were not ready when things took off. They were not ready, so they couldn't go. Okay, so don't be like the 5 foolish virgins, okay? Be like the 5 wise virgins. I'm going to be a wise virgin. Don't come to my house because you didn't listen or you didn't share the video and your friends don't know what to do. Okay, let us be wise together. That's why I'm sharing this information with you, because I care about you and I want you and your family to be well. Teach this to your children. Teach this to your children. Okay. So you need to have things to start a fire. Matches would be good. Those little lighter fluid things would be good. The little propane things that you use under the silver trays when you're sternos, that's what they call sternos. That would be good. Something to start a fire. But you also need to know how to start a fire if you don't have any things. We're talking sticks and rocks, okay? We're talking friction here. So again, go on YouTube and find out how to start a fire without matches, okay? If you were in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, great, kudos. You probably already know how to start a fire. If it's been many, many moons ago and you don't remember, go on YouTube and refresh your memory. Okay. You may need a fire to cook food outside your house, of course. You may need to start a fire. So if you're going to start a fire, you want to use a fire pit. Maybe you have one. I have one. Use a fire pit. Maybe there's one like built with the nice bricks around in your area, in your backyard. Do that. If not, you can make a fire pit. Okay. Again, you can YouTube or you can Google how to make a fire pit. You want to make sure that you have a certain distance away from your house. You want to make sure that you have a distance away from things that are flammable. You want to be able to create a controlled area where you're going to do this fire. And in this fire, you can use it to keep warm, right? You can also use it to cook. You can heat up a can of food or something like that. Okay. So very important to be able to start a fire with and without lighters, matches, and things like that. But again, I'm telling you, stock up now. Stock up now so that you have these things. And again, for the bug out bag, make sure there's matches in each bag. Another reason to make sure that every bag has what it needs in each bag is because God forbid you get separated from someone in your group. That person or those persons will still be prepared even though you're not there, right? It makes sense. When you think about it, it really is common sense, but common sense, not common. So I'm going to say it anyway, and it'll be a refresher if you forgot or you just didn't think of it, okay? That's what you have me here for. Keep at least half a tank of gas in your car. For me, up until recently, I try to keep my car on full. If my car got to half a tank, I'm filling it back up. But that's the rule of thumb. God forbid, you never know when you have to go out, take a long drive or what have you. You know the gas station is going to be packed, okay? You don't want to have to get gas when everybody else is getting gas. keep gasoline in your car. And then, with the times that we're living in, I want to encourage you not to have a mentality or a spirit of lack, because God doesn't. He said he will not withhold anything good from us. He wants us to have the things that we need, and above that, he said, I have given you all things that pertain to life and godliness. This pertains to life. So even you here, even you listening, even you hearing what I'm saying and taking it in, this is according to scripture, because this is information that pertains to life. Okay, this pertains to you keeping that life by being prepared. Okay, so keep your gas tank half full. Also, get an outside gas source. So get a gas container that's safe, that's approved, and get some gas in it, and find a safe place to store it. Okay, have to be very careful where you store this, because it is flammable. Okay, if you live in a house and you have property, you can store it at the far corner of your backyard. If you don't have property like that, or you're not able to store it that far, again, you can Google, you can YouTube to see how to store it. You also have to be careful, because once you put gasoline in the container, and let's say you put it in your garage or your whatever, it gives off these noxious fumes, and that could make you sick. Okay, so you want to be careful that the area that you store this is very well ventilated, or again, it is outside away from your house, so that your house can be safe. Learn how to tie a knot, like a real knot, like a military knot or a sailor knot. I don't know how to do this. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to Google it, right? I'm going to YouTube it. So learn how to tie a knot. This is a basic, but it can be very important when you need to tie things down. What is the point in tying something down and then the wind comes and blows it away? Now, if it's a hurricane, nothing's going to tie down for a hurricane or a tornado, right? But outside of that, you want to make sure that you're able to tie a knot. Okay, very, very important. Okay. What else do I need to tell you? Okay, here's a list of a few things that people typically forget in times of crisis. And this is something that you should add to your grocery list for this month, okay? Well, it's almost July, so next month. Okay, so garbage bags. So when you're eating or defecating or whatever, you have something to put these things in. So garbage bags. Each bug out bag can hold, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, roll them up. You can put garbage bags in each bug out bag. Even at home, you need to have garbage bags. A whistle. A whistle can alert someone that you're near. A whistle could be your call for help. Okay, each bug out bag should have a whistle. Each family member should have a whistle. So I'm going to keep talking about bug out bags. And for those of you that have joined late, we're talking about survival preparedness. We're talking about some of the basic things that you need to be prepared in the event that something crazy happens, something catastrophic, the grid goes down, or some other pandemic comes along the way, or whatever, what it is that you can do to prepare yourself. So if you're going to stay at home and hunker down and prepare yourself, there's things that you need. And then if there's a reason that you can't stay at home and you have to leave your home, you want to have everything that you need in a bag. And this is called a bug out bag. Okay. So it's just simply a backpack, okay, that you can put on your back, but inside this backpack is going to have everything that you need. So whatever the number of family members in your house is the number of bug out bags that you need to have. Obviously, if it's a baby, right, the baby's not going to have one. You're going to have what you need in the baby's bag. But again, as I said a moment ago, make sure that each bag has every element of what's needed in it in case, God forbid, you get separated. You know that the group over there has the same things that they need as you do over here, okay? So garbage bags, a whistle, glasses or spare glasses. What if you can't see because your glasses got broke, sat on, stepped on, whatever the case may be? Have some spare glasses if you can. Okay. You want the physical copies of the map. You cannot rely on your GPS on your phone. God forbid the grid goes down or you're trying to get off the grid for whatever reason. You can't rely on the map that's going to come from your cell phone. Okay. A sewing kit. Get you a portable sewing kit, okay? And a first aid kit. I always keep a first aid kit in the car, and in that first aid kit, it has some sewing things in it, okay? But in my home, I have a sewing kit and I have a first aid kit. Here's the thing. I have one daughter that used to use band-aids for everything. Mosquito bite band-aid, scratch band-aid, cut band-aid. Everything was band-aids. That's it. This little girl loves band-aids. Anyhow, make sure that your first aid kit is fully supplied. So if it's a kit that you've been having in your home for a little while, make sure that you check it and you make sure that it's full, that you have the things that you need. If you get a specific first aid kit, and they come in different sizes, right? It will have something in there for a tourniquet. It will have bandages. It will have Neosporin or something like that that can help for infections. That will some Vaseline or something of that nature. It will have those things in it. As a woman, you want to make sure that you have sanitary napkins. Okay, you want to make sure that you have those things that you need while you're out. You don't know necessarily when things happen, you're going to need it. It's so always better to have what you need before you need to have it. Okay, that's preparedness. Okay, have it so that when you need it, it is there. Okay, so sewing kit, first aid kit. I encourage you to keep these things in your car anyway. God forbid you get stuck in traffic or somebody's playing in the back seat and they get cut on something, whatever. You want to be prepared, okay? And then that'll keep you from maybe having to stop if someone else is in the back seat and can help them and so on. You want to have cash. Now, this is something that I was not doing, that I was using my cards for everything. But as of like last year, I always try to keep cash on me. Keep cash in the house. Doesn't have to be a lot. Whatever you have, $5 here, $1 here, keep some change. Your change can convert to cash. Keep some cash in your house, okay? Try to build up so that you have somewhere between $300 and $500. This is not money that you touch. If you need to take it out of your savings and say, okay, this is my emergency hands-on cash, then do that and tuck it away and don't touch it, okay? You want to have cash just in case if anything goes on. Your legal documents, like I said before, your driver's license, your passport, maybe your kids have a student ID or some type of safety documentation. Medications, okay? Again, if you have pets, you want to have the things that you need for pets. Okay, let's talk about food. Let's talk about food and the food that you need to have on hand to prepare for an emergency. So remember the rule of thumb. You're going to plan for 3 days, 72 hours. And then after that, if you have room in storage and you want to plan for further, you want to make sure that you have food for 3 weeks. For myself and my family, as for me and my house, we serve the Lord. As for me and my house, we're prepared for a month or more. A month or more. So I encourage you, if you can, do that. And it was expensive. But anyway, the thing is, if you start now and you get little by little, you can do that. So here's the rule of thumb on that. When you go shopping, buy 1 for now and 2 for later. And I know prices are risen. If you can't do 2 later, do 1 for now and 1 for later. 1 for now and 1 for later. 1 battery pack for now, 1 battery pack for later. 1 can of beans for now, and a can or 2 cans of beans for later. Okay, so we're going to jump into the food. I hope you're taking notes. This you probably know, but again, it's a reiteration. It's going to help you to be prepared. Canned goods, okay, beans, vegetables, fish like sardines, tuna, things like that. There's also canned chicken. You can do that as well. Salmon in a can, right? You can do that as well. So what you should do is check for the sales at various supermarkets. When you see it on sale, go buy it. Go buy it. So that's what I did. And that's how I build up. And I have, I don't know, I may have like 10 cans of chicken and 10, 12 cans of tuna. So, but I started months ago. So I'm encouraging you to get started now. Another thing, I don't know if you like it or not, but get it anyway, because it is survival food and it has a long shelf life. And that is jerky. They have beef jerky now, as well as turkey jerky and stuff like that. So get some jerky. It is a good, healthy snack. It can give you some of the salts that you may need if you're dehydrated. It can also just be a little pick-me-up if you don't have time to stop to eat, if you're on the go and things like that. So some jerky. Dry goods. So canned goods, dry goods, rice and pasta. Now, in order to make rice and pasta, obviously the caveat is you need water. So if you don't have water, that's not going to go very far. But if you have water, or you're able to boil water on a stove, or like a camping stove. I bought that too, like the camping stove and the butane that you use to fire up the little gas stove. I bought all that stuff. So I encourage you to do that. Walmart, Walmart, Walmart. Okay, go get it. Okay, and just build up little by little, because you're going to need to cook the rice and the pasta. So if you're not at home and you had to bug out, you're going to make a fire pit. You can boil the water over the fire and you can cook your rice and pasta there. Rice has some nutrients, but it also can help to fill you, so that you're not feeling hungry, which is one of the things that you have to be careful for in the three, right? Is shelter, food, and water. Depending on what size you are, how you're used to eating, your health conditions is going to determine the food or the amount of food that you need to eat. When you're in an emergency situation, you're not going to be able to eat like you normally eat. You're not going to be able to eat the size of food or the plate of food that you would normally eat. And for someone that's used to eating a lot or eating often, that could be very troublesome. That type of person may feel like they're starving way before they're actually starving. Okay. So it would be good to begin to train your body now, also help you to lose weight, but it'll be good to train your body now to not take food just immediately, because sometimes you got to admit it, many times we eat off of emotion, whether we're stressed, whether we're tired, whether we're bored, whether upset or mad about something. Food a lot of times is a comfort. Food a lot of times is the go-to. So I want to encourage you to be mindful of your thoughts. What are you thinking? How are you feeling? And what is your response when you're thinking those things? What is your response when you're feeling those things? And try not to turn to food. Okay, especially unhealthy food. Make healthy food choices. Okay, but we're talking about emergency. Okay, so water and other beverages. Now, let's see. Coffee, tea, beverages, they do count as water, as liquid for your body, not alcohol though. However, the caveat to this is, and this is whether you drink or not, whether you believe in it or not, is to have some alcohol. Why? Because other people may want it. And that can be a staple for them that you can then barter something that you need. So imagine you're trading a can of beer for a can of tuna. It's totally possible, but you won't be able to do that if you don't have it. So this is not in the case if you're bugging out, because you're not going to have space for that. But if you're home or a situation like that, or you're in a community with people that are looking out for one another. So some liquor, alcohol is good to have. Again, you can use it as a barter for other people that they feel that they have to have this. And here's the proof of this. And here's a great case in point. When the pandemic started and everything was shut down, you know what stayed open the whole time? Put it in the chat. What stayed open the whole time? Gyms were closed. All kinds of places were closed. But which place was still open? The ABC store. I came from New York. I didn't know what was an ABC store. It took me a minute to realize that the ABC store was the liquor store. Yes, Juanita, you're right. Walmart was open. Okay. And you can get grocery items and even alcohol and survival items and things from Walmart. But I was talking about the liquor store. The ABC store, the liquor store, was open the whole time. I promise you, I'm not even exaggerating or lying. There was a line. There was a line from the liquor store. Or there were cars pulled up to the curb in this particular shopping center near me, and people were waiting till someone else came out and they went in. I promise you. And I was like, wow, we're in a pandemic. That was the first time we in this age generation experienced anything like that. You don't know what's coming or how long things are going to be shut down and closed. But guess what? They wanted to make sure they had their spirits, their liquor. So while they stuck at home, they could drink. Okay. So all I'm saying is have a little something on the side. So if you need something that you've run out of, you may be able to use that to barter with someone else that deems it as a necessity. That's the point of that. And that's all I'm saying. Okay, food. I'm talking about food. And water. So we want to make sure that you don't get dehydrated. You make sure you're drinking water. Okay. Liquor does not count in this case because liquor will actually dry you out on the inside. So that's not a good thing to drink or to have in cases of emergency. But water, teas, coffee, Even soda is better than not having anything. Okay. So that can suffice, but you really need water, H2O. And so one of the things I encourage you to do is get some 5-gallon drums or those big containers. Like if you have water delivered to your job or to your home, get that and fill those up with water. You can buy those on Amazon. I bought a couple. I think I have two, at least 5-gallon sizes filled up with alkaline water and sealed. And then I bought two more smaller ones. So make sure that you have them filled up. Now, here's the thing about storing water. There really is no shelf life per se on water. However, regular tap water sitting for a long time will allow the bacteria to begin to grow and do things in it. So you can treat your water. I can't say purify, I can say treat. You can treat your water that it will kill the bacteria and things like that and still be safe for drinking with a cap full of bleach. I cringe when I say this, but I promise you it's in the book. I didn't say it, they said it. I'm just telling you, don't shoot the messenger, okay? So with like a cap full of household bleach, in 5 gallons of water, it will help to treat that water so that it is safe for drinking. There are some other things that you can get. There's something, I think it's called a Chlorotab. So there's things that you can purchase that you can drop in the water and it will help to treat the water, making it safe to drink. Not every water is safe to drink. If you are like ocean water is not safe to drink. River water and pond water is not safe to drink. Even lake water is not safe to drink. So even though there are elements outside and you can see water, you can bathe in it. You maybe can wash your dishes in it, but make sure it's dried really good before you eat off of it, because that water is going to be filled with bacteria and all kinds of organisms and things, and getting it in your system can literally make you sick, okay? And if you have health problems, that can be very detrimental, so you don't want to do that. So if you have to, you can use that water to bathe in. You can use that water to wash things, your clothes, a dish, or something like that, but you want to make sure that it's dry before you eat off of it. The only place safe to really drink water outside untreated is a waterfall. Okay, is a waterfall. We don't have no waterfalls around here, so you better stock up on some water. If you're home, you can buy bottled water, distilled water, things of that nature. Now, when you're storing water, you want to have water that's treated for you to drink. So maybe you want to label that treated water or drinkable water. And then you can have other regular water that maybe you've just been collecting from the tap in order to wash things, around the house, to wash your clothes, to flush the toilet, things like that. If the system is not working, if you pour water down the toilet, it will flush. But you don't want to use treated water for that. The treated water is for you to drink with, and all the other water is for you to use for other household things. Okay, so that's very important. Okay. So that was it about water. I'm going to find the video that I did last year, because then you can get a visual on all the things that I have and purchase. And I can send you some links and stuff too. So if you want to know more, you can inbox me and I'll get that for you. Okay. In hot weather, you're going to need to drink more water, but for survival, you need about 1 liter a day. And then again, this can also fluctuate based on a person's size, height, weight, and medical needs. Okay, very important. What else? Okay, so canned foods. So storing canned foods, let's say you start stocking up now, right? The foods that have the earliest expiration date. Okay, so let's say I go shopping tomorrow and I get some canned foods, and the shelf life says July 2024. Okay. Next month, I go shopping, I get some more canned goods, and now the food says August 2025. Okay, you follow me? One was 24, one was 25, 2025, right? I want to shift the food in my cabinet, because the food that lasts longer, that from August 2025 expiration date, needs to go in the back. Okay, so whatever food has the earliest expiration date, it needs to go in the front. Okay, earliest expiration date, soonest expiration date needs to go in the front. That's the first one you use, because you don't want to use food from 2025 when the 2024 food is going to go bad. Okay, makes sense? Okay. What else can I tell you? Honey never goes bad. That is something. I have a staple list here of things that you can have, that you can stockpile. Honey is one of those. Nut butters, dried fruit, granola bars, sports drinks. Many of these things have a long shelf life, and so you can stockpile them. Liquor too has a long shelf life, but again, if you don't consume alcohol, and that's great, just have a little bit on hand so you can use to barter, okay, or trade with someone else. You may say, Dawn, I don't like those foods. Well, listen, in the case of emergency, you're going to be doing a lot of things you don't like, so just deal with it. The point is, your body needs nutrients, your body needs substance, so you need to have something on hand that's going to last, that's going to be safe, so that you can get some food in. Okay, let me speed up because time is drawing nigh. Something else I wanted to tell you. Okay, one place you can look, I'm going to give you a couple links, is www.ready.gov. Somebody type that in the chat for me, please. www.ready.gov. And you can get some prepared lists and things like that, and you can learn more about survival skills. Then there's survivalworld.com. Speaking of foods, there's some companies that have food that's kind of like NASA food, astronaut food, that is supposed to be delicious, like gourmet food. And I think it just needs water. You can eat it like that. And it has a long shelf life, but it's a little bit more nutritious for you. I bought some. They sell them in like packages for a family and things and stuff like that. You can get individual ones. There are a lot of different companies out there. I would encourage you, if you do decide to buy packaged food, that you actually taste it. Like now, like when you buy it. Because here's the thing, if you bought a box of this and it is horrible, like god awful, it's not going to be likely that you're going to want to use that, even in an emergency situation. So at least you will know, okay, this is going in the back, and this is not a brand that I want to get. And find a brand that you like. One of the brands that I use, and I'll be honest, I haven't tasted it yet, but I will, is called 4 Patriots. The number 4, patriots.com. They have high ratings and all that stuff. You can look at that. They've been doing this for a long time. They've been supplying even stuff to our military and things like that. So 4patriots.com is good. Erica, I'm going to get into that in a moment. So thank you for putting that in there and reminding me. Something else I wanted to tell you about that. Dehydrated foods. So you can buy a dehydrator and you can dehydrate foods and store them. You know those machines that will seal the food for you? That would be very good. That's the next thing that I'm going to get. Like that's my next thing I'm going to get is one of those machines that can seal your food, because then you can help to preserve the food and it can last longer. And you can begin to do that now with the things that you have at home. So a dehydrator machine, you can dehydrate it yourself and store it, or you can purchase dehydrated food. Obviously, if you do it yourself, it's going to be cheaper. Okay, so nuts as well as nut butters, unless of course you have an allergy. Now, here's the thing. One of the things that they advocate is that you get to know people in your community and what their expertise is so that you can help. So for example, I'm in holistic health. So there's going to be a lot of things that I know or that come natural to me that may not come natural to the next person on what to do if someone gets sick or they start showing, medical distress and things like that. There may be someone else who's a contractor and they're good with wood. I need to know that about my neighbor. Maybe there's one that's like a techie and you need to know about these technical things. So get to know your neighbors, get to know the people in your community. So that could be your physical community where you live, or that could be the community of people that you're friends with. But get to know each person's area of expertise because you don't know when you need that. So you guys can come together in a group and hunker down together and be able to help each other. And then your lifespan stretches even further because you're able to use the knowledge and the expertise that are in your community. Okay. All right, great. Okay. So herbs, spices, flavor additives. Many of them last for a long time. You can use that as well, and that will help your food. Lots of herbs you can use as teas, like peppermint, basil, things like that, even parsley, things like that, turmeric. So that would be good to have. You can start to preserve food. So that's something that you can start now if you're into canning, or if you're not and you want to start, that's something I want to look into, is to start canning certain things. Okay, so again, Google or YouTube University for canning. You can freeze dry certain foods. And so this is a way for you to be able to have food on end for any length of time. A lot of foods, especially canned foods, they have a year or two shelf life. Okay, know the expiration date before you eat something. And again, whatever the soonest expiration date is, you want to have that to the front of your cabinet, because that's what you want to grab first. The food with the shelf life that is further out, further extended, you want to have that in the back, because you're going to get that last. Okay, so by the time you're ready for it, it's almost due. Okay, Erica put in the chat about the tower garden, and that's something that I had planned to talk to you about. I bought my tower garden a couple of months ago. And the purpose is because, well, one, I want to eat healthy foods at home. The price of food and all these things, I wanted to be prepared at home. But in this mindset of preparedness, I want to be able to grow and make my own food. But also, I don't like bugs and worms. So I'm not going in the backyard to garden. I'm sorry. I'm just not. That's me. Some of you like gardening, and I applaud you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. But the tower garden is something that everyone can use, because you have it inside your home. You can also do it outside your home, and you can grow various vegetables, fruits, herbs, spices, and things like that. You can even grow flowers, but that's not going to help you in an emergency situation. So stick to food and herbs and things like that. If you're interested in the tower garden, you can reach out to me, dawnehorizon@gmail.com, dawnehorizon@gmail.com. And I have a website specifically for the tower garden. I'm going to be posting more things about that. My grandchildren are coming this summer, and I'm going to teach them how to do this tower garden. I'm going to teach them about growing things, and teach them how they can eat from tower to table. Okay, this is the most organic that you're going to get. Even some of the certified organic, do we really know if it's certified organic? Unfortunately, no. However, when you grow it yourself, that's certified organic. Okay, it doesn't even have herbicides or pesticides. You can literally take a piece of lettuce off the tower garden and put it in your mouth. Okay, so that's on that. There are key areas and ways to store certain foods, so that's important too. I want to encourage you to get this book. This is where I'm giving you some of this information from, others from the top of my head that I've been studying over the year. But this is called The Ultimate Survival System by Stephen Bryant. I think I got 4 books. They were doing like a special. I think I got 4 books for like $10 or $12 or so. And so I have a book for me, and I gave a book to my daughter, to my son, and then I have an extra book. I'm going to keep that somewhere, put that in my bug out bag. Okay, so I said a lot of information. I'm talking really fast. One, because I'm a New Yorker, I naturally talk fast. And the other is because I have so much to tell you in a short amount of time. So our hour pretty much is already up. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And I'm just going to peruse really, really quick and see if there's anything important that I forgot to tell you. Okay. No, I think I pretty much gave you everything. If you want to have something like this again, let me know. What I'm going to do is dig up the video that I did last year and have that for you and repost it. Spare glasses, maps. Anybody have any questions? Erica says to check out Canadian Prepper channel. Canadian Prepper channel. Okay, I want to let you know that there's also an income opportunity with the tower garden. Okay, you can help schools. This would be something great. Some schools do teach agriculture, most don't, but this is something that can be helpful to schools that they can do, even to grow their own for the food that they feed to the children. That's very cost effective, but also in a preparedness, or what do they call it, life skills class or something like that, where they can teach a little bit of gardening to their students. A lot of restaurants are doing this. There's restaurants, I believe it's in the Chicago airport, and they have like a whole level upstairs that obviously people don't really go to. And I thought this was really cool. So all of these restaurants they have in the huge Chicago airport, they have tower gardens. So like each restaurant has 1, 2, 3, 4 tower gardens, and they're growing spices and herbs and vegetables on the tower garden. I was like, wow, that's great. So if you go to a restaurant in Chicago's airport, typically you're going to eat fresh garden food that they're literally gardening upstairs. And so what I saw was on each tower garden, they had like a little marquee or a little sign for each restaurant. And I thought that was really, really cool. That is a great investment, is a great way to save money, and it's a great way to just have the best of food for the meals and for their customers, obviously. Okay, what else? Preparedness means do it now before you need it. Because if you wait till you need it, it's a crisis and you may not be able to get the things that you need then. So the last thing I want to leave you with is buy one for now and one for later. Buy one for now and two for later if you can. This is canned goods, dried foods, jerky, nuts and butters or nut butters, honey. Okay. Honey can make almost anything taste better, right? A lot of times if something is sweet, you're like, oh, okay. Your sweet taste buds is like, hey, I like this. Okay. So that way you don't have to hold your nose and eat it or drink it. Okay. Speaking of drinking, some of those powders like lemonade and teas and things like that can be good, but they have to mix with water. Okay. So there's that. Or you can just put a little bit in your mouth and mix it with saliva. When I was in my fitness journey and hanging out at the gym all the time, the bodybuilders had all these different drinks, powders and stuff, and they just take it to the head and just pour it in the mouth. Okay, swish it with some saliva and swallow. Okay, but it's quick absorption into the bloodstream, and they were able to get that quick performance. Okay. So there's so much more to share. I feel like this is an inexhaustible, topic, but I did my best in an hour and 10 minutes to give you the gist of the information, like the most important. Hopefully you feel empowered. Hopefully you feel a little bit more educated than what you were before today's live on what you can do to prepare yourself and your family in an event of an emergency. Okay, there are various types of emergencies. It's hard to prepare for them all. But with these basic tips that I've shared with you today, you can be at least basically prepared for whatever emergency is going to come your way. If you have more questions on this, or you want to talk more, or you want to brainstorm or ideas, feel free to reach out to me, Dawn Horizon at email, or you can message me on Facebook Messenger, or you can text me. Any questions? I'm heading out now. This was so much fun. I'm going to find the video and I'm going to post it probably by tomorrow if I can find it. Okay. You can even Google bug out bag and get some ideas there. But there are checklists and things that you can do. Okay. So be a smart shopper, especially now when everything is high. Look at the circulars that you're getting in the mail. Compare prices. Sometimes I go to 2 or 3 different stores and they're not too far from home. Sometimes I go to 2 to 3 different stores to get the things that I need. Okay. So be a smart shopper. Compare prices. Sometimes you can get it less online, sometimes not. This is something you need to know. That way you're being the most frugal with the money that you have. And remember to keep cash on hand. Start with a little bit, start putting 5, 10, 20, 50, whatever you can away, and don't touch it, but know where it is so that you can have access to it. And I would say, put it in your bug out bag. If you have a firearm, make sure that that's ready. Make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you have a license if your state requires you to have a license. Have a concealed carry if that's something that you want to do. Virginia is an open carry state, so I didn't need a concealed carry, but I went and got my concealed carry anyway, because I want to be a little bit more prepared if I travel and things like that. Okay. And I don't want someone to know that I'm armed and dangerous, but I'm armed and dangerous. Okay. Plus, goodness and mercy follow me. You can't see all the angels around me right now, but they there. Trust me. The God Most High is with me. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm praying for you. I hope that you're praying for me. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 5 p.m.